Hey, what is up guys? It's Traizel, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys everything you need to know about the command /scoreboard. Now before we get started, if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you enjoyed it. Now let's get started. Now if you are completely new to Minecraft commands, I would recommend my ultimate Minecraft command video. But if you've already watched that, or if you are a little bit more advanced in commands, there is a command you might have heard of, and it is /scoreboard. Now this command can do a lot of things. You can start off with the basics, but it can also get pretty advanced. So starting off with the very basics of the command, you use /scoreboard, and then from there you got two things. You got objectives and players. Objectives is basically going to be a list of all the different objectives you have. Now what is an objective? An objective is basically a thing that you make that will contain a number that can then be assigned to a player or anything, an entity, any entity in the game. So for example, you can go objectives, and then you got these three options: add, list, which will list all the objectives you've made; remove, to remove an objective; and a set display, which I'll show you guys in a minute. But for now, let's add a new one, call it cool dummy, and then this is the display, which is how it's going to display if you display it on your screen. Right now, just for the tutorial, we're going to do something different. So we'll call the display name super cool. Now we've created this new objective called cool. What can you do with this? Scoreboard, if you go to players now, to go to the players tab, they got all these different options. The ones you want to focus on right now is add, set, and remove. And what those do, just like the objectives, or similar to the objectives, you can add an objective to a player and add a number to it. You can remove a number or an objective from a player, like any number, and then they can set it, which means like whatever the number is, it's set. That number is set. So if it's 2, it sets it to. It's not added or removed from 2. So right now, let's add me, and then it'll go cool. It's adding me to cool, and then how much? Well, let's just do 1 for now. There. So now I've been added to cool for 1. So now if we were to go look at what my scoreboard is of cool, it's going to be 1. Now if I do add again, it's going to add 1. So then it'll become 2. And you can see that it says now 2, now 3, and so on. I can keep doing this. Now likewise, you can simply do remove me cool 2. And now remove 2, and you can see it went from 4 to now it's 2. And just like these ones, you can go set, which, like I said, if you set it, it'll just become the number that you set it to. So cool 50. It'll just become whatever I set it to. So I set me to 50, so I'm just straight up at 50. So this seems very basic at the first, but just know that all you're doing is creating an objective, which is basically like this thing that you can set numbers to, and then you can do players, which is setting these entities, players, whatever you want, to those objectives and setting a number to that. Next up, a big thing you want to know about is the test. So if you go scoreboard players test, basically this is going to test if a player is at a certain score or not. I'm going to test if I have a scoreboard of cool between 1 and 49. I'm at 50, so this should fail. The score 50 is not in range of 1 and 49. But if I do 1 and 100, it is. 50 is in range of 1 and 100. The next one is a little bit more complicated. It's not too bad. But if you go scoreboard players random, basically this one will pick a random number and set the player to that between the numbers that you set. If I do scoreboard players random me cool, and between 20 and 40, it set me to 32. Now it set me to 34, set me to 36, and so on. You can do this anything. This can be very useful for many different things. Next up, we got operation. Now this one is probably the more complicated ones. So in order to do this one, you're gonna have to have 2 different objectives. So for this, we're gonna add a new objective. We're gonna call this one bruh, and make it a dummy. Let's say I'm gonna set me to cool of 5, but then I'm gonna set my bruh to 43. Now what you can do, you can go operation me cool equals me my bruh. Now what is that? What that's doing, it is setting whatever my cool is equal to the bruh. Now that sounds very weird, but I believe I set bruh equal to 43. I might have it switched around, a cool equal to 5. So basically this cool is going to become equal to whatever this is. So this should be 43 again, given that bro was 43. There you go. So since bro was 43, cool became 43. A good way to like think about it is set the first one equal to the second one. So cool becomes equal to bruh. What is cool? It doesn't matter, because it's going to become whatever bruh is, which is 43. Cool becomes bruh. That sounds so weird. There's a lot of other cool things you can do with this. Let's set cool back to 5. Now let's go back here and let's do, for example, plus equals. And what this is going to do is similar to the equals, except it's going to add cool plus bruh and set it equal to cool. So we can go Traizel bruh. Now what we're doing is we're adding the two together, 43 plus 5, and that is going to be set equal to cool. So cool now should be 43 plus 5, 48. Last couple things here, you can do scoreboard objectives, back to objectives, set display like I was saying earlier, and you can just set display. There's 3 different options: below name, which will go actually below the player's name; list, which will go when you press pause. It'll be right here on the where it says tutorial world. That will become whatever you set it to. And then the sidebar will be the little thing where it says slots. That'll be the sidebar. What we're going to do is go scoreboard objectives, set display, sidebar, cool. And you can see right there I have that 266 of what I had, and it actually says super cool because we set the display name to super cool, and you can change that to whatever you want. So obviously, like I said earlier, you can set things to non-entities. So for example, if I did scoreboard players add, this is a guy named Joe, okay, and we're gonna add him to cool. He's really cool. He's got 5 cool. Now suddenly there's this guy named Joe in the game. You can do this to anything. I'm just gonna go like that. Go like cool 5. There you go. Now there's this giant string of letters is set to 5. Lastly, when you're doing scoreboard, when you're doing like a /test4 command or something to test for if players have like a certain score, scores equals, and then this is where you'd like test, see if someone has a certain score. Cool equals 4. Nobody found 4. But what you can do is you can add 2 dots and then add like whatever you want. So now this is a range. So now it's going to find people between scores of cool of 5 to up to, I believe that's 100,000. Now it found me because I am between 5 and 100,000. I am at 266. Okay, now that we went through how to use scoreboards, I have 5 examples here, 5 really cool examples of things you can do with scoreboards. So first up here, we got this basic slot machine. And first of all, you have to create the objective. So what I did is I did scoreboard objectives, add slots, dummy, and then I named it to slots. So that when I do this, and I set the display of slots on the sidebar, it looks fancy and it has a capital S and it's red and everything. Now what this does is when you press the button, it'll set you to a random number, and based on what you get, you get a certain reward. It's going to set me, like I said, the random scoreboard player is random at P, the closest player, slots between 1 and 1,000. So I'm going to be chosen a random number between 1 and 1,000, and then it's going to test. Scoreboard players test at P slots between 1 and 600. So if I'm between 1 and 600, keep in mind this next one is conditional, so only if I'm between 1 and 600, it's going to say I want an apple. It's going to give me an apple. It's going to test if I'm between 601 and 960, so it's a little bit smaller range there. It's going to give me a diamond sword. It's going to say I got a diamond sword. Then the last one, if I'm between 961 and 1,000, like the last little bit, it's going to say I won the jackpot, and it's going to give me a nether star, which I haven't even gotten yet, because that's like the last 40 or whatever. And I actually just got it. Next up, we got a random teleporter. Oh, just like this. I'm going to set the display. It's the same exact thing, except I just call it something different. And then I set the display to random TP. Now here, it's a little bit different, slightly different. This thing, if I had different players in the game, since I'm the only one in the game, it's not as cool. But this will affect every single player, and players can teleport to different spots. It's randomizing everyone's random TP between 1 and 5. So I might become 1, but my friend might become like 3 or 4. And then, but basically, it's going to TP everybody that's between 1 and 3, 10 blocks above this block. And then it's going to TP everybody between 4 and 5, 3 blocks to the left here, or to the right or something. Next up, we have this basic bank. Now it's the same thing, objectives, set display, same exact thing. Now here you can see I have no money and the bank has no money. Now this is just giving me money. It's just adding 100 of myself. I have $100. Now I'm going to deposit that into the bank. Now the bank has it. This is like a shared bank. So anybody, don't necessarily need to do this myself, but any player could come up and withdraw that $100, and it goes back to their account. Now let's say I give myself another $200, I deposit it. Now the bank has $100, somebody could come up and withdraw it to their account. So here we have test. Scoreboard players test the closest person if their money is between 100 and a big number that they'll never get to. Basically, if they have at least $100, you remove that person's money of $100. So if they have enough money, you take their money, and then after that, you add bank, which, by the way, bank is a non-entity. You just name it bank, give them $100 in money, and these are both conditional. Then it's the opposite. Test if bank has enough money, at least $100. Then if so, remove $100 from bank and give the closest player $100. The next one we have here is a very simple loot crate, the objective, and then the set display. Basically, I have it here, so whenever you can buy this crate or whatever you want, but whenever it activates, it'll give you a certain crate which can have stuff in it, and I just put like some basic stuff there. I got a legendary crate there, epic again, and then the top one's the mythic. So basically, this one's going to, once again, random, but it's going to do it to crate, not a player. And then between 1 and 100, and it's going to test if they're between 1 and 50, the crate. If it is, this is conditional. It's going to say the closest player, you won the epic crate. Then it's just going to clone this chest over here with whatever's inside. Same thing, 51 to 80, it'll say you won legendary. Give that, clone it, and then between 81 and 100, it'll give the mythic crate, which is going to be the mythic or the netherite chestplate. For this last one, it is a pretty advanced claim that I made. It's automatic, so anybody that is not part of the claim will get automatically put to adventure mode and won't be able to break stuff, like so. There you go. I can't break stuff. Trying to put myself in the creative, I instantly go back to adventure, so I can't do it. If I were to, I believe scoreboard players set me claim, I believe it's 5. There you go. Now I'm part of the claim. So I can now break stuff, go into survival, go into creative and stuff, because I am a part of this claim. How it works, the reason why there's Bedrock here is because there's an armor stand inside, which is the claim. And that armor stand is set to a scoreboard of 5. So if I set this, change it at E, type equals armor stand, range equals like 6, and we'll change it to like 8. So now, since it doesn't match me, since I'm not part of the claim anymore, I'm now updated to adventure. Now I have to set me back to 8 here, so I can be in the claim. So how it works is it's using those operations. The first one is it's going scoreboard players operations at E, the armor stand, and what you do is I give it a tag. So what I did is I did tag the armor stand at E type equals armor stand, range equals whatever, to make sure it doesn't tag all the armor stands, and then add core. The reason I tagged it is so that like if there was another armor stand, like I placed one right here, it wouldn't affect that one, it would only affect this one. Basically it's operation the armor stand claim temp. So in order to do that, I created an objective called claim temp, and also I created an objective called claim, and basically that claim temp is being set equal to their claim. So whatever their claim is 8, remember? So whenever this thing runs, their claim temp's being set equal to their claim, which is 8. So now claim temp on the armor stand is 8. Keep that in mind. The second one is it's going to execute for the armor stand with range of 20. So the armor stand below, it's going to then scoreboard players operation again. Anybody in a range of 10, that's going to set their claim temp equal to their claim. So it's the same thing with this, except this is for the player. So now whatever my claim is, whether it's 5, 10, 1,000, my claim temp is going to become the same as my claim. The next one, it's going to execute for the armor stand, scoreboard players operation, anybody within 10 blocks of the armor stand. It's going to set their claim temp equal to the claim temp of the armor stand minus the player's claim temp. So now basically it's going to subtract my claim temp and the armor stand's claim temp and set it equal to mine. So the armor stand's claim temp is 8, my claim temp is 8. It's going to subtract the 2, so now my claim temp is 0. If I was like 5, I would be -3. If I was 10, I'd be 2, etc. The last one is just executing for the armor stand again. It's going to set anybody in an adventure that does not have a claim temp of 0. So if you're not 0, you'll be put into adventure, meaning you are not part of this claim. So because I have the same claim temp or claim as the armor stand, I am a part of this claim. I'm set to 0. I will not be put into adventure. I can stay in creative, stay in survival, and whatever. Yeah, that was a lot of info. Okay, so quick recap. Scoreboard, you got two types, objectives and players. The objectives is basically the thing that people can be set to. It's the thing that has numbers in it. Players are obviously going to affect the players. You can target people, add, remove them from scoreboards, and give them a number. And then from there you can also do operations, random, give them a random number, and anything else you can test to see if they have a certain number in the scoreboard. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you did enjoy it. And as always, peace out, everybody.